Emma Rodriguez had 7 minutes to leave a message before they came back. The Berkeley coffee shop was crowded with finals week students. Everyone hunched over laptops, nobody paying attention to the 19-year-old girl in the corner booth whose hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold her phone. She'd been so stupid, so incredibly stupid. The LinkedIn message had seemed legitimate 3 weeks ago. "Hi Emma, I came across your profile and was impressed by your psychology coursework at Berkeley. I run a wellness consulting firm that works with students on stress management and career coaching. Would love to grab coffee and discuss some opportunities." The profile belonged to someone named Jennifer Martinez, professional headshot, 500+ connections, recommendations from people with titles like VP of Human Resources and Senior Leadership Coach. The company website looked real. The testimonials looked real. Everything looked real. But nothing was real. Emma opened her Venmo app, fingers moving fast. She had maybe 5 minutes before Marcus and Jennifer returned from the bathroom. They'd excuse themselves together. "Just need to discuss your orientation schedule." But Emma knew. She'd finally figured it out after 3 meetings spread over 2 weeks. After they'd slowly, carefully separated her from her friends, her routine, her normal life. After they'd convinced her that her parents wouldn't understand the opportunity for growth they were offering. After they'd taken her laptop for safekeeping and given her a new phone for community use only. But they'd made one mistake. They'd let her keep her Venmo. "You'll need to contribute to community funds," Marcus had explained. "We share everything, no personal possessions, but we all support each other financially." Emma's old phone was in her pocket. She'd hidden it in her jacket lining when they weren't looking. She had 43% battery left. No service. They were blocking signals somehow, but the coffee shop Wi-Fi was working. First Venmo transaction, $1,000 to Spiritual Awakening Retreat, with emojis Thompson. She stared at her screen. How do you tell your parents you've been recruited into a cult using only a Venmo transaction description and 3 emojis? Emma had been taking Professor Walsh's cryptography seminar. They'd studied steganography, hiding messages in plain sight, Bible codes, acrostics, number ciphers, numbers. The amounts weren't random. They couldn't be. She only had 3 chances to leave messages before they'd notice something was wrong. Predolzen, $100, $1,000, $1,000 Predolzen, $1,000, $1,000 Predolzen dollars. If her parents were paying attention, if they remembered her obsession with codes, if they thought to check Venmo, she moved to her notes app, typing frantically. Matthew 10. I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. Revelation 2. You have persevered and have endured hardships. Matthew 5. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Her heart was pounding. The emojis were pure instinct, spiritual symbols they'd been forcing on her. Her parents would see those and know. They had to know. Through the coffee shop window, she could see Marcus and Jennifer heading back, both smiling, those 2 bright smiles that never reached their eyes. Second transaction, sent 8 days ago from her new phone at the retreat center. $200 to Enlightenment Seminar with emojis 5K. Third transaction, right now, her old phone, $50 to Community Meal Fund with emojis Fokwand, Tokkam. 3 transactions, 3 Bible verses when decoded. Matthew 10, Revelation 2, Matthew 5. She pulled up Google Maps, hand shaking, and took screenshots of the coffee shop location, the retreat center where they'd kept her for the past week, every address she could remember from their community tours. She opened her Venmo again. The emojis, they had to mean something more. Green heart, seedling, symbol, growth, nature, meditation. She was overthinking. She opened notes again. Mom, Dad, if you're reading this, I'm leaving clues in my Venmo. The amounts are Bible verses, Matthew 10, Revelation 2, Vale. The locations ping from where I am. The people holding me are Christopher Vale, leader, 42, former tech exec, Marcus Thompson, recruiter, 29, Jennifer Martinez, recruiter, fake profile, minus real name unknown. They're recruiting college students through LinkedIn and Instagram wellness accounts. They call it the Ascension Collective. Tell police, tell FBI. I'm trying to come home. I love you. Mine E. She saved the note as a draft email to her own Berkeley account. If she could get to a computer with actual internet. Emma. She jumped. Marcus was standing at the table, that smile plastered on his face. Jennifer beside him, eyes cold despite the grin. Ready for your orientation? Marcus's hand landed on her shoulder. Firm, not quite a grip, not quite friendly. Emma locked her phone. Yeah, just texted my mum that I'll be out of touch for a few days. She worries. Of course she does. That's beautiful. Marcus's voice was honey smooth. But remember what we discussed. Your old life, your old attachments, those are holding you back from your true ascension. Your parents love you, but they can't understand what we're offering you. They walked her out of the coffee shop. Emma's old phone felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds in her jacket pocket. 3 transactions, 3 Bible verses, 3 location pings. Please, she thought. Please let them figure it out. Please let someone come. 2 weeks later, Maria Rodriguez's phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. She'd been washing dishes, trying to keep her hands busy, trying not to think about the fact that her daughter hadn't called in 14 days. The notification lit up the screen. Venmo. Emma Rodriguez paid Community Meal Fund, $50. Her hands were still wet when she grabbed the phone. Her husband Carlos looked up from his laptop, where he'd been refreshing Emma's Instagram for the 100th time that day, searching for any sign, any update, anything. Emma just sent money, Maria said, her voice breaking. She's alive. She's using her phone. Carlos was beside her in 2 steps, looking over her shoulder at the screen. The transaction had happened 7 minutes ago. Emma's smiling profile picture stared back at them. That photo from her high school graduation, the one where she looked so proud, so ready for Berkeley, so ready for everything the world had to offer. $50 to what? Carlos grabbed his own phone, pulling up the family Venmo account they'd set up 2 years ago when Emma went to college. Community Meal Fund. What is that? I don't know. I don't care. She's alive, Carlos. She's using her account. We can find her. They'd reported Emma missing 11 days ago, after her roommate Sophia called saying Emma hadn't come back from spring break. But Emma hadn't told anyone where she was going for spring break. Her last Instagram post was March 14th, a photo of her coffee with the caption "Final Cesnam Peck." Her last text to her mum had been that same night, "Studying late, love you, Vaintain," and then nothing. The Berkeley police had taken the report. They'd checked her dorm room laptop, gone. Some clothes missing, toiletries gone. Looks like she packed for a trip, the officer had said. College students do this sometimes. Spring break. They go somewhere without telling parents. Give it a few days. But Maria knew. Mothers know. Something was wrong. The FBI had been slightly more interested when Carlos mentioned Emma's phone was off, not dead battery off, but powered down off. That's unusual, the agent had admitted. Most kids who run away keep their phones on. They just don't answer parents. Now Carlos was scrolling through Emma's Venmo history. There's more, he said slowly. Look, 3 days ago, Tuesday, she paid something called Enlightenment Seminar, $200. I didn't see this. Did you see this? Maria shook her head. They'd checked Emma's bank account, but hadn't thought to check Venmo. Nobody thinks about Venmo. Last week, Carlos continued, his finger moving up the screen, she paid Spiritual Awakening Retreat, $1,000. Maria, that's her entire savings from summer. What is this? The emojis were strange. Each transaction had a different combination. For the $50, for the $200, bird torda, for the $1,000, bird torda 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 $4,000, bird torda $4,000. De competiment flocks plabby how for the fog with side of divide your pludstrin for the town. Is this drugs? Maria whispered. Is our daughter buying drugs? I don't think so. Carlos was already dialing. These descriptions, community meals, enlightenment, spiritual awakening. This sounds like he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't want to say the word that was forming in both their minds, cult. But one thing they knew, their daughter had left a message, and they would follow every clue to find her. At 9 a.m. the next morning, Carlos and Maria Rodriguez found themselves on the third floor of an old building in Berkeley. The sign on the door read, "Dark Case Files, Private Investigation Services." The sounds coming from inside printers, keyboards, low conversations suggested a professional but intense environment. The man who opened the door was in his mid-40s, dark hair with silver temples, a few days of stubble, and tired but sharp blue-grey eyes. He wore a blazer but no tie, sleeves slightly rolled, a man in work mode. "Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez." His voice was deep and reassuring. "I'm David Harrington. Detective Kim briefed me on your daughter's case. Please, come in." He led them to a conference room with crime boards on the walls, file cabinets, and 3 large monitors. 2 other people were already in the room. A young woman in her 30s with thick-framed glasses holding a notebook, and an Asian American man in his early 40s sitting with a calm demeanor. "This is Sam Reeves, our digital forensics expert," David introduced. "And this is Marcus Chen, our criminal psychologist. We want to know everything about Emma's case." Carlos opened his laptop, showing Emma's Venmo history. 3 transactions, over 2 weeks, large amounts, strange descriptions, and these emoji combinations. Sam pulled her laptop over, mirroring Emma's Venmo profile to her own screen. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. "Transaction locations are different," she said, more to herself. "First one, 45 miles north of Berkeley. Second one, near Santa Rosa. Third one, analyzing now." Marcus leaned forward. The descriptions: spiritual awakening retreat, enlightenment seminar, community meal fund. This is classic cult terminology, packaged in wellness culture. But the underlying structure is the same. Cult. Maria's voice was hoarse. "Our daughter joined a cult. Recruited, most likely," Marcus gently corrected. "Through social media. LinkedIn, Instagram. Modern cults target campuses during high-stress periods like finals week. The goal is vulnerable students looking for identity and connection. They promise guidance, purpose, authentic community." David sat across from Maria. "Mrs. Rodriguez, your daughter is very smart. These Venmo transactions, they're not random. She's leaving you a message." "But how?" Carlos asked. "They're just money transactions. How can they be messages?" Sam turned, eyes bright with excitement. "The amounts. Look, $1,000, $200, $50. No decimal points. Emma chose these specifically. And according to your university records, Emma took Professor Walsh's cryptography seminar last semester. She got an A. She learned codes," Maria stood up. "Secret messages." "More than that." Sam took a deep breath. "Emma comes from a Catholic family. She went to Sunday school. She knows the Bible well. What if I read these amounts as Bible verses?" David leaned forward. "Go on." Sam typed, "Matthew 10, I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. Therefore be as shrewd as serpents and as innocent as doves." The air in the room changed. Revelation 2:0. Sam continued, "I know your deeds, your hard work and your perseverance. I know that you cannot tolerate wicked people." Carlos had to sit down. Matthew 5, technically Matthew 5:1-2, but the chapter heading shows the Beatitudes teachings about blessing. "What is she saying?" Maria whispered. "What is she trying to tell us?" Marcus stepped in, voice gentle but determined. First verse, she sees herself in danger, sheep among wolves, but she's trying to be shrewd, leaving messages. Second one, David continued, she's persevering, fighting, not broken. And third, Sam finished, she's maintaining her spirit, trying to protect who she is. Maria started crying, not hopeless tears anymore, but something different, something that felt almost like hope mixed with terror. Can you find my daughter? Carlos's voice was breaking. David Harrington stood, meeting Carlos's eyes. Mr. Rodriguez, your daughter left us a roadmap, and we're going to follow it. But we need to move fast. Cults don't keep smart people around long. If Emma knows we can decode her messages, and she will know, the consequences could be difficult. What should we do? Maria asked. Keep monitoring Venmo, Sam said. If she makes another transaction, notify me immediately. Every transaction could be another clue, another location, another message. David closed his file. And us, we're going to bring your daughter home. But none of them knew how complicated it would get, how deep it went, and that Emma's life was hanging by a thread. Late that night, Sam Reeves was working alone at the dark case files office. 3 monitors filled with Emma's digital footprints, Venmo history, LinkedIn connections, Instagram followers, university email account with police permission. Something was there. She knew Emma had used Bible verses. The emojis must matter too. Each transaction had exactly 3 emojis: time, symbol, diamond, butterfly, and $1,000. Tinchi, till in praying hands, sparkles, $200. Son, watu son takims, watu son dollars, what $50. Tontis polding dollars. Sam was looking for a pattern. Alphabetical? Numerical? Were there emoji code conversion charts? Then she went back to LinkedIn. Emma's recent connections: Jennifer Martinez, wellness consultant; Marcus Thompson, leadership coach; Christopher Vale, founder, The Ascension Collective. She clicked on Christopher Vale's profile. Former Silicon Valley tech executive, now running something called Helping Young Professionals Discover Their True Potential Through Conscious Community Living. Sam did a web search. The Ascension Collective. First result was a professional website. Bright pictures, meditation gardens, smiling people, testimonials. But Sam went deeper. Page 3, Reddit post. 8 months ago. My brother joined the Ascension Collective and doesn't talk to our family anymore. Is this a cult? Page 5. Local news article. Santa Rosa. Families concerned about wellness retreat. Students missing for weeks. Page 7. Former members blog. How I escaped the Ascension. My 6 months in the Ascension Collective. Sam read the blog. The author, Sarah Kay, with only initials, told everything. Recruited on LinkedIn. Coffee meetings about career opportunities. Just a weekend retreat. Then 1 more week. Then indefinitely. They slowly increased money demands, Sarah had written. At first $50 for community meal contributions, then $200 for seminars, then thousands for transformation programs. They used Venmo because it's harder to track, and students could transfer without telling parents what they were paying for. Sam went back to Venmo. She checked the recipients of Emma's transactions. Community Meal Fund. No profile. Just a name. Enlightenment Seminar. No profile. Spiritual Awakening Retreat. No profile. These weren't real accounts. These were crypto wallets or phantom accounts. Money was going somewhere but was hard to track. Sam texted David. We need to investigate Christopher Vale. The Ascension Collective isn't a company. It's a cult. Other families have reported missing students. The response came instantly. Team meeting 6 a.m. I'm calling Elena. Elena Cortez, the youngest member of the Dark Case Files team at 29, specialized in undercover investigations. A former investigative journalist, she was familiar with campus cultures, student networks, social media manipulation. The next morning, Elena sat at the conference table with notes. The Ascension Collective has been active for 3 years, she began, operating on university campuses in the San Francisco Bay Area, Berkeley, Stanford, San Jose State. They recruit through LinkedIn and Instagram wellness influencer accounts. Target demographic: 18-24 students studying psychology, sociology, philosophy, people seeking purpose, intellectually curious. David leaned forward. How many students? Officially? We don't know. Their websites mention community members but don't give numbers. But looking at Reddit, Facebook support groups, former member blogs, I estimate at least 40-50 students recruited in the last 2 years. Most eventually left or families intervened, but some what? Marcus asked. Elena opened a file. 3 students still missing, including Emma. The other 2, Maya Thompson, 20, Stanford, missing since December. Liam Park, 22, San Jose State, missing since October. Their families filed missing person reports, but police say adults have the right to leave voluntarily. And Christopher Vale, Sam was looking at his file, 42 years old, former Google and Tesla executive, left the tech sector in 2018 after a spiritual breakdown, founded the Ascension Collective in 2020. Real estate records show he purchased an old retreat center in Northern California, 40 acres of forest, high security, limited access. Compound, said Jake Morrison from the back of the conference room, the team's street investigator, with the toughness that matched his police experience. Fences, security, both, Elena confirmed. There are images on Google Earth, surrounded by perimeter fencing, security cameras, checkpoint at the gate, marketed as a wellness retreat but operates like a compound. David stood, walked to the crime board. He pinned Emma's photo in the center, added Christopher Vale, Jennifer Martinez, Marcus Thompson, aerial views of the compound around it. Here's our plan, he said. Sam, keep tracking Emma's digital footprint. Every Venmo transaction, every ping, every emoji, all of it is saying something. Marcus, research cult psychology. How does Vale think? What can we predict? Elena, David turned to her. I want you to go to campus. Undercover? Elena pulled out her notebook. As a Berkeley student, get into their network, see how they recruit, and if possible, find out where Emma is. What if I reach Emma? Elena asked. Contact her if you can, David said. But don't put yourself at risk. These people are professional at manipulation. If they figure out what you really are. He didn't finish the sentence. But everyone understood. Emma was alive. But for how long? 3 days later, Elena Cortez was walking around Berkeley campus as Olivia Martinez, sociology graduate student, stressed, searching for direction, wanting connection. She'd built her Instagram profile specifically, wellness posts, meditation quotes, writings about finding yourself journey. Exactly the profile the Ascension Collective targeted. Within 2 days, she started getting follow requests from wellness influencers. On the 3rd day, a DM came from Jennifer Martinez. Hi Olivia, I came across your profile and really loved your content about conscious living and personal transformation. I work with career coaching and stress management with students. Would you like to meet for coffee? The same message, word for word, the same message Emma had received. Elena accepted. The next day, at the same Berkeley coffee shop where Emma had sat before sending her last Venmo transaction, Elena met with Jennifer Martinez. Jennifer was in her early 30s, bright smile, perfect makeup, expensive but earthy clothes. She said all the right things, your potential, true self, community, purpose. Would you like to come to a weekend seminar with us? Jennifer asked. Just students, meditation, workshops, connecting. Free, you just need to come with an open heart. Sounds amazing, Elena said enthusiastically. But can you give me an address I can tell my parents? They'd worry. Of course. Jennifer pulled out a brochure, professionally printed, forest photos, meditation platforms, smiling faces, address, an isolated location in Northern California, the same compound Sam had identified. Actually, Jennifer added gently, we recommend leaving cell phones at home to get the best experience, a real digital detox, but don't worry, there's a community phone for emergencies. Red flag. But Elena smiled. I understand. Disconnecting from technology, I love it. That night at the Dark Case Files office, Elena reported, they let me in. I'm going to the compound this weekend, but they're collecting phones either through signal blockers or simply rules. Elena wore a microphone, small GPS tracker, just in case. David was worried. Elena, there are risks here. If they discover your identity, they won't. Elena was determined. I'm a professional, and we know Emma's there. If I can reach her, get intel from inside. 2 hours, David said firmly. If you don't come back or check in within 72 hours, we're going in with full SWAT. Elena agreed. Friday morning, Elena gathered with 7 other students at the Berkeley campus meeting point. All 18 to 23 years old, all hopeful, all searching for something. A van arrived. Jennifer and Marcus. Now Elena saw the real Marcus, about 30, charismatic, confident, greeted them. Your phones, please. Marcus showed a box. 72-hour digital detox. I promise, and you'll discover who you are without technology. Elena dropped off her phone, but the microphone and GPS were still on her. The drive took 2 hours. The forest grew denser inward. Finally, gates tall, metal secured. A security guard checked them. Registration, even facial recognition. Then they entered. The compound was bigger than it looked. Main lodge, dormitory buildings, meditation halls, organic gardens. Beautiful, peaceful, the perfect wellness retreat. But Elena noticed the details. High fences, cameras at every corner, staff always watching, and inside no windows or phones. The first night was a welcome ceremony. All community members, about 40 students, gathered in the main hall. And then she saw him, Christopher Vale, early 40s, handsome, reassuring, charismatic. Not a suit, but casual yet stylish. He spoke, "Welcome to our community. This isn't a retreat, it's a family. The outside world will label you, limit you, extinguish your potential. But here, you'll find your true essence. Trust me, trust each other, and you will ascend." The room applauded. Some students cried. Mass euphoria. Mass belonging. Elena started looking for Emma during meditation sessions. 40 faces, but Emma's photo was in her mind. One evening at dinner, at a distant table, a group of students in silent reflection, she saw her, Emma Rodriguez, thinner, paler, but alive. Elena carefully approached, sat next to Emma, whispered, "Emma?" Emma looked up, eyes flashing with fear. "You don't know me. Go away." "Your family sent me," Elena whispered, even quieter. "Dark case files. I'm here to take you home." Emma's eyes filled. "They can't get out. Vale knows he knows I decoded the codes. They keep me in silent reflection, so I can't communicate with my family. And what? Something's happening here. Not just a cult. Money. Lots of money. They're collecting millions from students. But where is it going? And I heard Christopher talking about some students with market potential." Emma swallowed. "I think they might be selling us." Elena's blood froze. Human trafficking. "Not just a cult. We're leaving in 72 hours, Elena promised. "You and me, be ready." But neither Elena nor Emma knew that Vale was already suspicious of Elena, monitoring Elena's microphone conversations and preparing a trap. The second night, Elena was called for a special ascension session. Jennifer told her with a smile, "Christopher wants to meet you. He sees a strong energy in you." Red flag. But Elena couldn't refuse. Vale's office was in the main lodge, luxurious leather furniture, books on shelves, wine. He sat in his chair, relaxed, confident, smiling. "Olivia, please sit," he gestured. "Or, should I say, Elena Cortez?" Elena's face turned to stone. Vale turned a laptop around. On the screen was Elena's real LinkedIn profile. Dark case files article archive. Her photos. "I hear you're a good investigative journalist," Vale said, voice still calm. "But your undercover work is a bit rusty. You asked too many questions about family on day one. Real students don't do that. They're running from family. They don't want their families to know about this place. What do you want?" Elena's hand went to her microphone, but Vale shook his head. "We already took it. Found your microphone on day one security scan, disabled your GPS. Your team can't ping you. To them, you've disappeared. Elena's heart raced, but she controlled her face. "If you hurt me, FBI will be at this door." "But you didn't call FBI, did you?" Val smiled. "Because officially there's no crime yet. Adult students voluntarily attending a wellness retreat, voluntarily donating their money. None of it's illegal, just unethical." "You're holding Emma Rodriguez," Elena said. "By force. That's kidnapping." "Emma's here because she's dangerous." Vale's voice hardened. "Trying to influence others, spreading words like cult and trafficking. She needs silent reflection for control. So it really is a cult. I call it collectively purified consciousness." Val stood. "Elena, you're smart. We can make a deal. Drop this story, leave quietly, and we forget your entry. Or what?" Vale's smile cooled. "Or you need silent reflection too. A few months. We'll tell your family it's a personal journey. Eventually you'll leave, but by then no one will know where Emma or the others are." Elena was calculating options. Escape? The doors are secured. No phone. No GPS. The team will wait 72 hours, 2 more days. "I need time to think," she said. "Of course. Until morning." Vale opened the door. "But Elena, don't try to escape. The forest is 40 acres. Wild animals. Security. No one's ever gotten out." That night, Elena in her dorm room with a locked door reviewed her options. She remembered the emergency procedure Marcus Chen had given. "If you're trapped, create chaos. Draw attention. Let the rescue team find you." But how? Then Emma came to her door. The lock was open. Vale wanted this. Watch 2 problem women together. "Do you have a plan?" Emma whispered. Elena nodded. "But it'll take some creativity." At the same time, panic at the dark case files office. 72 hours are up, Sam said, looking at her screen. No ping from Elena, no check-in, nothing. David was already on the phone. "Calling Berkeley PD, FBI, everyone. We have a serious situation." Jake Morrison was checking his equipment. "Are we raiding with SWAT?" No other choice. David looked at the crime board. Emma's photo, Elena's photo, Christopher Vale's photo. 2 women inside, 40 students. If this goes wrong, it won't. Sam had found something. "Wait, I was tracking Elena's GPS. It was shut off, but I recorded the last ping, exact location of the compound. But more I examined the location pings of Emma's Venmo transactions. There's a pattern, each transaction from a different compound building. Elena's last location was the north building where students are held, 3rd floor, east side." David looked at Jake. "Can you plan this?" "Already doing it." Jake was spreading out a map. "We go in at dawn. Soft, no flashbangs, no battering rams. These are college kids, not terrorists. But if Vale threatens, then we'll be ready to stop him." David checked his weapon, hadn't used it in years, but this case might require it. Marcus Chen interjected. "David, cult psychology matters. Vale is a megalomaniac. He'll want control. If he's cornered, he might escalate. But if you play to his ego, he'll come down. Let Vale feel like a hero." "Understood." David turned to the team. "Dawn, we extract Emma and Elena safely, whatever it takes." But thousands of miles away, Elena and Emma were already making their own plans. 2 hours before dawn, Emma and Elena were ready. "Windows have security sensors," Emma whispered, "but there's no chimney, old buildings lacking modern security. If we reach the basement systems, we can manually trigger the fire alarm." "Will Vale protect?" Elena asked. "Yes, but in chaos, if all students evacuate, he loses control. And your team is waiting outside, right?" Elena looked at her. "If they came, my GPS isn't working. Then the fire alarm will alert the city fire department. Automatic, goes to 911. Emma showed a small tool wiring device she'd extracted from a window. "I'm minoring in electrical engineering. Small advantages." The 2 women snuck out of the dormitory building. Dark, forest, silent, but security cameras everywhere. "Camera blind spots," Emma whispered. I mapped them all the first 2 weeks. She led them from one building to another, staying in shadows, basement level, boiler room, electrical panels, and fire alarm system. Emma opened the panel. Connected wires. This is direct line to city fire department. If we trigger it, they're automatically dispatched, but it also alerts Vale. Ready? Elena nodded. Emma pulled the lever. The alarm blared throughout the compound. Lights flashed. Within 3 seconds, students were pouring out of dorm buildings, confused, sleepy, panicked. Vale and security went crazy. Everyone calm. This is just a drill. But the fire department was already on the way. And at the compound gates, Berkeley PD, FBI, dark case files team were waiting. David Harrington heard his radio. Fire alarm from inside compound. Automatic 911 call, we're going in. The gates opened. First fire trucks required by law, then police, then David, Sam, Marcus, Jake. Val saw Emma and Elena in the evacuation crowd. He ran toward them, but Jake intercepted. Christopher Vale, you're under arrest for kidnapping, false imprisonment, money laundering, federal crimes. You can't prove this, Vale hissed. These are voluntary students. Am I voluntary? Emma stepped forward. You took my phone. You locked me in my room. You prevented me from reaching my family. That's kidnapping. Other students started listening. Some nodded. They locked me too, said a girl. When I wanted to leave, they said I owed money I couldn't pay. Mass testimony was collapsing. Vale made one last attempt. This was a community, a family. I was saving you. You were exploiting us. Emma showed her Venmo history. Now everyone had their phones back. My transactions, my codes. I left you messages because I knew someone would decode them, and they did. Maria and Carlos Rodriguez ran from the surveillance van, pulled Emma into their arms. Everyone was crying. David turned to Elena. Are you okay? I am now. Elena looked around, but David Vale was right about something. We need to follow the money trail. Millions. Sam was already on it. Christopher Vale's accounts, the Ascension Collective funds, student donors, everything. I'm working on it. 3 days later, Sam reported her discovery. Over $4 million from students, marketed as donations, but actually forced, and Vale was transferring to offshore accounts. Tax evasion, money laundering, everything. When Christopher Vale faced a federal judge, charges were collapsing. Kidnapping, 19 counts. False imprisonment, 19 counts. Money laundering, 47 counts. Cult leadership, rare but applicable federal crime. Sentence: life in prison. 3 months later, Emma Rodriguez returned to Berkeley campus. Stronger, wiser, still healing. At the dark case files office, Maria and Carlos came to give thanks. You saved our daughter, Maria said with tears. You decoded her codes. You found her. David shook his head. Emma saved herself. The Venmo messages, they were incredibly clever. Give herself credit. Emma smiled shyly. Professor Walsh's cryptography class was worth an A. Sam, Marcus, Elena, Jake. Everyone was there, a team, a family. What happened to the Ascension Collective? Carlos asked. Shut down, Elena reported. FBI seized all assets. Compound is being sold. Money is being returned to students and families. Not always what happened, but fair. And the other students? Emma wondered. Maya? Liam? Found. Both safe with their families. Marcus shared the good news. Your courage leaving messages inspired other families to search for their students too. Domino effect. Emma took a deep breath. Vale. Does he have a court date? 6 months from now, David said. Federal court. But Elena, without you, your undercover work, evidence gathering, we wouldn't have a case. Elena nodded. Teamwork. Outside, Berkeley campus continued. Students went to class. Life went on. But something had changed. Students now looked more carefully at LinkedIn messages. They approached coffee invitations about career opportunities with suspicion. And parents were checking their kids' Venmo accounts. Because sometimes A message isn't just a transaction. Sometimes it's a lifeline. And in Emma Rodriguez's case, 3 Venmo transactions coded into Bible verses were the path that brought her home. 6 months later, in the courtroom, Christopher Vale heard his sentence. Guilty. All charges. Sentence 45 years federal prison with no possibility of early release. Emma testified. Elena testified. 18 other students testified. Vale spoke once. I was just trying to give them purpose. The judge responded, Mr. Vale, you didn't give young people purpose. You exploited them. You separated them from families. You stole their money. And if one student, Miss Rodriguez, hadn't been clever enough to leave messages using Bible verses, you might still be operating. After court, Emma met with the Dark Case Files team. What will you do now? David asked. Graduate school, clinical psychology. I want to specialize in working with cult survivors. Emma smiled. And maybe one day I'll work with you at Dark Case Files to help other students from being like me. David extended his hand. Whenever you want, your place is ready. Emma shook it. Sometimes evil wins. Sometimes the lost aren't found. But not this time. This time, a smart young woman used Bible verses, Venmo emojis, and pure determination and mobilized a family and a team. This time, good one. And the world became a little safer. If you or someone you know finds themselves in a similar situation, abusive groups, forced isolation, financial exploitation, you are not alone. Resources are available. Cult Recovery Hotline. Information. Campus Safety Resources. Information. FBI Human Trafficking Tip Line. Information. Rubble Times Psemel. And of Sayer. Information for them the Greitenskrechtekreting. And remember, if something feels wrong, it probably is. Trust your family, trust your instincts, and never give up leaving messages.